Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Monday, March 25th. We're on the European account. I just need to play some odd cost cards, and so I guess I will try the Paladin deck because I bet it's an odd Paladin deck, and we'll probably just have to play one game and then we'll be done with the European account and over to the Asian account. Not a lot of games came out over the weekend, but there's a bit of news, and since there might be some new news that came out before I start streaming. Let's see, we have an article here from Gamatsu. EA is going to publish Velen Studios' team-based action game for the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, and smartphones. I'm not sure that this game has an actual name. I just see a logo. Yeah, this game doesn't even have it have a name. So Velen Studios was previously was made by the founders of Vicarious Visions that worked as, I think, a third-party support company on games like Guitar Hero, Skylanders, Rock Band, Super Mario Maker, Metroid Prime, Destiny, Uncharted. They definitely don't feel like they were the first party developer on any of those, so this is an example of a third-party studio making enough money and getting enough skill by working as a support company to now potentially branch out and make their own intellectual property, their own IP, and that, in my opinion, is probably the right way to start a video game company. Even if you have a great idea, you probably are better off giving it some time and working for 6 to 8 years on other people's games, so that the programmers, the artists, the animators all have time to build up their skill. That's not much of a story though, frankly, because the game does not even have a name. Alright.
The battle! I fight.
Next we have a game on Steam called Dakadara, which seems like it's Connect 4. No, not quite Connect 4. Tactical positioning. Well, it looks like it's a game there. This feels like it's a slightly more polished single Unity screen puzzle game. It wants $2.99 as its main price, no discount. So if this came out on a discount, this is something I would give maybe a chance to. So I'll put this on the follow list. After a friendly minion dies, give a random shaman card. Or just get more people on the field.
Speak your peace. The battle.
I fight.
Reporting for duty.
That was probably the worst redemption trap activation he could have had. GameIndustry.biz has the same article. Vicarious Visions founders signed publishing deal with EA. Quote, after 25 games of making games, I realized I was doing it wrong, says the CEO. So, man, 25 years is a little bit more than I would have thought you should go as a third-party support company, which is what I'm describing it as. I might be totally wrong about that.
Reporting for
Yeah,
duty.
just keep this going.
Get down! The battle! The battle!
I fight.
There we go. This quote goes on. Typically, a game starts in pre-production where there's a pitch, there's an idea that could be really fun. Let's go try and make this game. It could be a Microsoft PowerPoint pitch, or an, I don't know why they put bracket Microsoft PowerPoint, as if people don't know what PowerPoint is. It seems unnecessary.
The light dims, but we fight.
Okay.
To battle!
Here. We got a dead one.
To battle!
That just shielded itself again. We'll wait.
Hit it very hard.
See how this goes.
I fight.
I must move quickly.
Right. I'll take that. That should work nicely. Where could be a Microsoft PowerPoint pitch, or an animatic or video, and then you have designers, artists, and engineers who go off and run through pre-production. What I realized is that we're missing a phase prior to pre-production, a true discovery phase to find magic, to find the fun. Wow, that's really flowery language. A phase to really prove or disprove concept. It needs to be very failure embracing process where you're iterating and seeing what works, and being very divergent and lateral thinking in terms of approach. I don't really disagree with what he's saying. The idea, if Portal had all the polish in it but didn't have the portal gun, and it just wasn't a fun mechanic to use the portal gun, then it would have been a failure of a game. As the same is true for any first-person shooter game. If the shooting in it is bad, it doesn't matter how good the story is or how much polish is on the graphics or anything like that. Even The Witcher 3, I'd argue, some of its fighting mechanics weren't the greatest, but they were a big improvement over what Witcher 2 had as far as its sword and shield combinations.
The light dims.
Freaking. This is terrible.
Reporting for duty.
This is just ruining me.
For justice.
I fight.
He totally knows he's doing it too.
Hit it very hard. Reporting for duty. That minion already attacked.
What do you mean that minion already attacked? How did that minion already attack? How did this 0-4 already attack? Oh, I guess he did, because I had the +1 damage on it. Interesting. The quote goes on, once you find the magic, then the team has an amazing clarity on what they're trying to build. You throw it away and you start over, knowing what you want to make. This way, you really hit the important validation step in the core experiences, because you found something truly special.
That was a mistake. Reporting for duty.
It's a true idea, certainly, but often when developing a game, you'll have a gun, a concept, an ability that that is in the game, or that you want in the game, that just does not work for one reason or another. how many of these redemptions
To battle.
am I gonna have to kill?
For justice. To battle. Job done.
So yeah, interesting idea, but I'm not sure I fully agree with the idea of having all of your team at the same time working on concepts when half of your team would be potentially working on animation and level design and things that wouldn't work around gameplay concepts. This concept, that way of pre-production, which still really is just pre-production, or really just like production, really. Video game industry likes to make nonsense terms a lot of time. Like that concept only works if you've got your animators working on some other project during that time, if you've got some other thing that would make sense during that time.
The light dims, but we fight.
I get them down to 1.
Fight.
Moving on, we have a game on Steam called Attacknoids, which is just an Arkanoid game. I would say there's a better amount of effort put on this, although this really looks like a mobile game. There's a button here and a button there. But usually the Arkanoid clones on Steam are pretty awful. This actually looks pretty good. That being said, I still would not suggest spending $2.39 discounted to purchase an Arkanoid clone. I don't even know if you really need to play original Arkanoid, let alone a clone. There we go. Hey, interesting. Well, let's play Paladin again, and if I get another victory, I'll be halfway done towards getting the 3rd daily quest. I knew that 3rd daily quest was going to pop up if I played long enough. Next, we have a game on Steam here that's called the Walshingham Files. It looks like an RPG Maker game. It's black bars on the side. Just free for chapter 1 and then probably not free for the rest of it. Yep. Nothing interesting here. Gamer Sutra has an article, game source code is a teaching tool, not a trade secret, argues VGHF founder, that is the Video Game History Foundation. I think that argument, a lot of that is coming from people saying that the source code for something like Donkey Kong or E.T. for the Atari is a trade secret. That source code is so old it doesn't matter. Like, there's no big trade secret in there. On the other hand, if you're trying to make the argument that a brand new game like Anthem should have its source code completely open sourced and out there, I can't really agree with that. I, in some small way, do believe in the concept of copyright, where an actual creators of a game should have an exclusive monopoly to the code of that for some amount of time. I think the amount of time for video games is probably should be a lot lower than 80 years after the death of the creator, which is never, because the creator is being claimed to be like EA or a corporation. But I could see a 5-year exclusive, and then the source code is no longer copyrighted, and then it's just, if you keep it a secret and it stays a secret, that's fine. What is this card back? I haven't seen this. How do you get this card back? Is that something you get for the pre-order bonus. In the long run, if you had like just 5 years copyright on video game code, even that would present some problems because they want to do remasters, they want to do re-releases, and it becomes very difficult to justify funding that if the code is out there and somebody else can do a better job. And in the end, I think other game developers' bad source code is probably not super helpful. Because if you're using open source libraries to develop your games, which you might be, you're probably going to have a better experience anyways at learning how to use those open source libraries than you are to try and see somebody's proprietary, terribly written code. I like the sentiment of the idea. I think there's probably some lack of realisticness there, depending on... There's some subjectivity in it that I think is not being made apparent. Let's see. Next we have a game on Steam called Through Abandoned Refuge, which says it's a point-and-click adventure game. And solve puzzles. Let's just skip. This doesn't look terrible, but there seems to be no characters in the game. It seems like it's a empty world. $2 and $2.24, but then there's 3 games here that are bundled together, and it seems like none of them have been reviewed. So let's look at this developer. No, they have been reviewed. It just wasn't showing me positive, mostly positive. So yeah, I need to look at these and see if I want to. Yeah, for $5 to have 3 games, assuming they're not super short, which seems like they aren't. Otherwise, they wouldn't be reviewed positively. This looks like a series I may have overlooked and I should put on my follow list or the wish list directly. Alright. So I could just finish one more game and go for a win streak. I think I want to do that. So we'll play one more game. TechRaptor has an article, Diablo Rewind Review, Smooth the Descent. I assume this is a review of the Good Old Games port. It says the Good Old Game port in itself is bare bones, which I'm not really surprised there. The launcher gives you 2 options to choose from. You can pick the classic version, presenting Diablo in 640 by 480 resolution at 20 frames per second. This really doesn't look good on a widescreen monitor, and it might mess up your desktop a bit. On the other hand, there's an updated version which uses your desktop's resolution in a 4:3 resolution aspect ratio. It doesn't look too bad on a widescreen monitor if you don't mind the black stripes. I think you would just have to live with the black stripes. Of course, that is a pretty bad translation there too. Like, why not just have it rewritten to be widescreen and remaster the game properly? I wonder if the Diablo 1 version that is being listed here on Good Old Games is an experiment to see how many people are interested in a remastered version. The port doesn't include any of the quality of life improvements that you'll get from projects like the Diablo HD mod, which I'd highly recommend if you're a veteran. So I imagine you could, playing it modded, I found out, I saw on YouTube that there was actually a Borderlands 2 mod that changes the appearance of a lot of the guns and tweaks a few things. It doesn't seem like it drastically changes the gameplay experience though. If anything, I think it makes it slower to level up so that there's more reason to continue playing, which would be the opposite of what I would want.
Halt! Who goes there?
Let's see. They're also recommending the clicker mod unless you feel like punishing your tendons. I assume the clicker mod automatically clicks because in Diablo that's what you were doing, is just like left clicking all the time for every attack on something. And yeah, that.
Speak your peace.
That is probably something that I wouldn't want to do nowadays. You know, games like Diablo might be the reason why I have a small bit of arthritis in my fingers. Let's see, the re-release doesn't include the expansion pack Hellfire, probably because it was developed by Sierra Studios, Synergistic Software. And so you're not even getting the Hellfire expansion. You could download the free mod such as the Awakening to make up for this. So this really is just a list of mods. Hey, check out this mod. Hey Diablo, check out this mod. Let's see. I kind of want an accelerated experience if I was to play Diablo. Honestly, if it came to Steam, I would buy it certainly, but I might just do a 30-minute spotlight and then move over to Torchlight, because Torchlight is a much better improvement.
Welcome.
Good Old Games gave the Good Old, TechRaptor gave the Good Old Games port an 8.5 great. Summary: the Good Old Game ports could use some quality of life improvements, but Diablo shines through as a rugged classic it will always be. The pros are a great setting and soundtrack, loot cycle still compelling, and tough swarm battles. Let's play this.
Reporting for duty.
And this.
Rest here.
And we'll do this.
The battle! The battle!
Okay.
Job done.
The cons are the port feels barebone, and succubi are still annoying. So yeah, there's so many Diablo-like clones that came after the fact, and it's just such an old game. It's hard to justify to try to spend the time to play it all the way through. Let's see, next spell you cast costs 3 less to cover a spell. If I'm gonna do anything,
Reporting for duty.
I should do this.
The battle! The battle! The battle!
Moving on, Gematsu has an article. Action arcade game Radical Rabbit Stew has been announced for the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. This is what it looks like. Looks like it's a probably fast-paced, looking at all these bullets, top-down twin-stick shooter of some sort, if I was to guess. Yeah, there's no video or anything here. Let's see. It'll be playable at PAX East 2019 in Boston on March 28th to the 31st, and EGX Rezzed in London on April 4th to the 6th. Okay. It's due out in 2020.
Let me think.
Wow. Okay, well, this,
Reporting for duty.
and then that,
Job done.
and then in the turn. I was hoping for a spell that would have done damage, and I didn't find one. GameIndustry.biz, the Philadelphia Overwatch team is getting a $50 million arena. The Fusion owner Comcast Spectator is investing in a 3,500 seat venue to beginning housing events in 2021. I feel like a lot of this is being funded just so that they can have an arena. Like, it doesn't really matter if Overwatch makes them any money or not. It just matters, frankly, for the people building the building, that they can put something there, and you can always put something there. Arenas are pretty highly profitable, often because you're getting the cities to give you tax incentives or write-offs. It's time to move over to the Asian account. So, like, it's, I don't know if I'd call it a scam, but it's a pretty good deal to run arenas, and there's like one major company that runs a lot of them. Yeah, the thing about arenas too is every event you have there is going to be an overpriced event with overpriced concessions and overpriced admission fees. And so if you have a comic book convention there, everything there will be overpriced. If you have an anime convention there, everything will be overpriced. If you have TED Talks there, it's going to be overpriced because this article says it will host everything from TED Talks to K-pop concerts in the Fusion arena. If you have a concert there, it's going to be overpriced. Like, nothing goes cheap at an arena just because it's in an arena. So we need to do at least 2 of these. But let's open these packs first. Last opportunity for today to get a legendary. Although even if I did get a legendary in these packs, I'm not sure that would really mean anything. More than likely, most of the cards in these packs will never even get played, even if they were very helpful, and they'll just get dusted once they go to wild. Yeah, it'll be an interesting question to if I just keep on playing Hearthstone, at some point I may have so much dust that I can just craft everything in standard version. I don't think I'd ever get to the point where I have so much dust I can get everything in golden version. So at some level I should undust everything I've dusted in wild and try to have a complete collection. Let's see. But at the moment we're still very much dusting gold. Unless we don't have 2 of them, then I'll keep them. And I'm not dusting all of these because a lot of these are new apparently, although I don't think that's actually true. I have like 3,000 dust on the Asian account, 5,000 dust on the European account, and 1,000 dust on the Americas account. So I am all over the board as far as how much dust I have. Let's just play Priest. Priest, play. Let's see.
Anduin versus Anduin.
Tim Sweeney, the guy in charge of, this is the Game of Sutra article. Tim Sweeney, the guy in charge of talking about the Epic Store, has committed committed to human moderators and quality filters for the Epic Games Store. Quote, "We have a storefront now too. Big whoop. Our storefront isn't going to be the be-all and end-all either."
Is someone injured?
That's a weird quote.
Is someone injured?
Game of Sutra and a lot of the mainstream video game journalist sites are still trying to push the Epic Store a lot more than I think actual people who actually pay for video games are trying to are trying to do. Like, at the current time, there's nothing nice I can really say about the Epic Store. It doesn't seem like it is a consumer-friendly option in any way, and I think you'd be foolish to want to follow it and make that the home for all your video games. You couldn't really do it, but anyways, if you wanted to. Moving on, TechCraft has an article. Nintendo of America has apparently stopped selling Wii U gamepad batteries. So, unless you're going to hand program in or hand solder in and find replacement batteries, or plug it in, and maybe you can play it while it's plugged in. That might be an opportunity that we have. Look at that, three cards on one heel. That's too many cards. That is way too many cards. I'm gonna regret this real fast. So yeah, the Wii U. The Nintendo stopped production of the Wii U back in January 2017. There are some laws in some countries that you have to give support and replacement products for something for a certain amount of time, but I imagine we are approaching a point where that is no longer a concern.
Let the pain speak to me.
Right away. Right away. Right away.
Let's see. I could heal all and then silence a minion if I wanted to, but I can just end the turn here too. There are actually quite a bit of Wii U games I was not aware of that probably need to be all ported to the Switch, and I think most of them are going to be ported to the Switch pretty easily, but there is a danger in just not doing a good job about it. Let's see. Double health? Not yet. Let's discover a copy of a spell. That works. Silence a minion. That works. So we've got everything. I could draw 3 more cards right now.
Quickly.
Right away.
Attack.
Right away.
Attack.
Right away.
Attack. 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 And I can't do anything more, but I've got this.
My hand is too full.
Yeah, there definitely will be a few games that don't get ported to the Switch or take forever to get ported to the Switch, and we may not see them playable again until there's an emulator that can run Wii U games, which may take a while. GameIndustry.biz has another article. Game, the company in the UK, the video game store, European games retailer, shrugs off Google Stadia threat. So that apparently they don't consider it a big threat, which I wouldn't really be surprised. Interesting. He's burning off all my cards. If he can find a way to stop this one or this one, he'll win. Okay. Double. A little bit more. A little bit more. You know what? Actually, I could have doubled again. I played that wrong. Yeah, does this article really say anything else? The game boss, Martin Gibbs, is, quote, erring on the side of excitement when it comes to Google Stadia. Yeah, I don't know if any real concern should be held right now as far as Google Stadia. Because Google, I mean, unless they are just going all in on video games and away from search as their main product, and they're really going to commit to that, that's probably a good idea for Google if they became more of a Microsoft-like company where there's Xbox, and then there's also Microsoft Windows, and then there's Microsoft server products, there are Azure line of products, and then there's Microsoft Word and Excel. If Google had more things that weren't all kind of just in existence to put ads in front of people's faces, it might help them in a lot of different venues, particularly with the EU constantly finding them for things. So if Stadia succeeds, that would be great. That might be very good as a YouTuber who is a video game critic, but also it won't ever get to the level that all video games are on Stadia and exclusive to Stadia, and nobody can own a video game in any form or fashion. I mean, we're barely owning a game at this point anyways, where we're licensing it and downloading it through a online service. But I don't want to take that next step and make it even worse. Next we have a game on Steam called Virefit. V-I-R-E-Fit. It looks like it's a VR exercise game of several different kinds. I would prefer to see them make one good boxing game versus a boxing game that also has basketball and tennis. This feels like it's a bunch of experiments in programming more than actual games, and inherently this is just standing in one place and swinging your hands around. This requires VR. It's $29.74 discounted right now. That is extremely expensive. And there's a bunch of Russian text in the name, which that's slightly a concern too. English and Russian are the only languages. So yeah, I don't see a reason why I would need to put this on the fall list. I kind of question why the boxing models are just these like fake. Let's see if we can get a picture of them. No, you have to watch the video to see them, I guess. When in the boxing sections, the bodies are just like mechanical dolls fighting each other instead of humans for what seems like no reason whatsoever. Yeah. Okay. So if I do this, and then this, should get me close enough.
I can see.
Well, apparently that's all it took to break the spirit of that guy. Let's just keep on playing. TechRaptor has an article. Amazon UK says Super Mario Maker 2 will be released on June 12th. Okay, I don't think there's really anything else to say there. If it comes out on June 12th, they're right. If it doesn't, whatever. Whenever it comes out, it comes out.
The light shall bring victory.
Let's see. I kind of want to hold on to everything, so I'm just going to leave that. We have a game on Steam, P-Cross, Hansel and Gretel Nonograms. Let's see. So this is Nonograms, I guess. P-Cross. Looks like there's some match 2 mini games in it too. It's not a bad idea to have a couple different ones. There's a limited number of puzzles here. It's 200 for 59 cents and 40 cents off. Or you can buy a bundle of a bunch of things for $16.68. Or you can buy the Picross bundle for $4.24. It's English, French, German, and Russian in the languages. Let's look at this developer and this publisher and see what games have been published and what they've been reviewed at. This feels like a developer who's just flooding the Steam store with puzzle games. I'm not really seeing any of them get reviewed, so nobody's really playing them. So, yeah. I don't really see a reason to put this on the follow list. I don't know what would push me into doing a Picross or Nonograms game. It seems like it's a simplistic enough concept that it should just be a mini game in a bigger game, or it's a concept that most people would figure out and know if that's something that interests them without even having to see a coverage of it. Maybe I'm being a little too simplistic on that.
Right
but,
away. Right away.
But yeah. Yeah, that P-Cross and Nonograms also take a lot of time to solve one. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article. Knights of Tartarus ventures out from Steam Early Access this April. So this is again a hype game. This looks like a Game Boy style looking game. Let's get a little trailer. I'll watch that as I'm playing over here.
Right away. Right away.
Come on, trailer. Start playing. Yeah, Knights of Tartarus looks like an NES game. And I'm still very much in the feeling that if I was going to play something that looked like an NES game, it better be an NES game that actually came out during that time.
Right away.
And not something that is simply just trying to ape that experience. Because of, I guess, a lack of ability to animate to modern graphics, which is my assumption. Next we have a game on Steam called Katana Soul, which looks like a Commodore game. This might be an old Commodore game, or it might just be designed to look like an old Commodore game.
I must consider.
Let's see. yeah, it's a new game designed to look like a Commodore game. It's the same argument as I just made, though. Like, I'm not willing to play a game that looks like an old game for no reason.
Right away.
Yeah, and if I was gonna play Katana Soul, why not play The Messenger first? Because that's at least doing something more interesting there. And let's see if this developer's developed anything else that has been reviewed. Well, there's a couple other games that are rated positively, but they're all kind of retro games that don't appeal to me.
I must consider.
Alright, let's hope that that's enough cards to do this, and then this, and then let's just
Right away.
see.
Right away.
This.
Oh.
Here we go. And in return, Gamatsu has an article, Star Ocean Fest 2019, set for May 2025. This is a Square Enix hosted festival for Star Ocean. These little Japanese festivals don't usually have anything interesting to say or anything new to announce. GameIndustry.biz has an article, Valve adds a soft currency gambling to Dota Plus subscription. Let's see. There we go. Users can now bet on Dota Pro Circuit matches with shards, the companion app's currency. Hey, we might actually make it up to rank 19 at this rate. So it's quote, designed to enhance your experience for every Dota Pro Circuit event. It is already available through the Dota Pro Circuit companion app on the App Store and Google Play. The app uses a currency called shards, and that currency can now be used to place bets on Dota Pro Circuit matches. You'll be able to wager your personal stash of plus shards to predict the winners of the Dota Pro Circuit matches, with winnings added to your in-game total. Is there a way to bring in or out the shards, or is this just a fake currency that you are just given or earned through playing? And says Kotaku pointed out, prior to this new feature, shards were earned by completing quests, earning hero XP, and predicting the winner of their own matches. With this new feature, users can gamble up to 100 shards on matches using odds supplied by Valve. While this does represent a form of gambling, it's important to note that shards cannot be bought for real money earned by Dota Plus subscribers. So you have to be a subscriber to get the shards, but there's nothing else in that. Valve introduced Dota Plus subscription in March 2018, which combined features associated with a battle pass and an in-game analysis tool called the Plus Assistant. The cost of Dota Plus is $3.99 a month. That's a lot of money, frankly. So yeah, Valve can't make games, but they can make gambling. This is probably the least offensive way possible to do something like this, and it may very well have been demanded by players of Dota, but it's not gonna look good to any outsiders. Certainly doesn't sound like a good idea to me, as somebody who doesn't watch Dota or play Dota. GameIndustry.biz has an article. Kraftons, that's Krafton, hunt for the next PUBG. The game union behind Terra, T-E-R-A, and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds discusses its unique approach to working with game developers. Do we have somebody that we can play? One damage to all enemies. The Korean Game at the Korean Game Expo G-Star last year, the newly rebranded Krafton Games Game Union, formerly known as Bluehole, because that's who I thought was the company over PUBG. Apparently they changed their name. So they're talking about they're looking for new games to publish and provide money to. This is kind of more of an advertisement for Krafton though than an actual informative statement. Let's see. I severely doubt that Krafton would find another PUBG, because PUBG was just kind of a fluke, and it was so easy to copy that people immediately went to the free clone of Fortnite, and now a lot of people have gone from PUBG to Fortnite to Apex Legends or something else. It's a very flippant audience when you're talking about Battle Royale and first-person shooter game players. Alright. I've just gotta hope this works. I guess. One, two, three. Got it. 1, 2. And 3. And attack.
That was a mistake.
Let's see what he does with that. Because he's got all these cards. He's totally right. There might be a way to kill this guy just by silencing him. If any one of those is silence, that kills it. If any of those is taunt, it delays it for a turn.
What to do?
So he's saying that's a mistake. That's a mistake. It sure doesn't seem like he knows what to do about this. Come on, reveal. He had enough. He had enough to win. Okay. There was, I don't believe, anything else I could have done in that instance, though. Next, we have a game on Steam called Mango Kart, which looks like it's kind of a resource management game. It looks pretty bad. Yeah, this seems like it's a strategy trading game for $8.09 discounted. Yeah, that doesn't look interesting. I've played a couple of trading games, strategy games. None of them have ever really been that fun. The idea is, I think, just a flawed idea as far as an entertaining prospect, because I think it really just boils down to the same old problem as I personally, and I don't think very many people do, want to play a game that is just somebody's job. If it's a job, it's usually not fun. There's not an easy way to turn something that is unfun into being fun.
The pleasure is mine.
Next, we have a game on Steam that's a bunch of Asian characters, and it's called Woods Landing. It looks like it's a almost clicker game. It looks like an RPG, but then why are the bars filling up? It seems like it's a rhythm clicker kind of game.
I will be your death.
And it just seems like you don't ever really get off that screen. Early access for $7.89. Yeah. English and simplified Chinese. That in no way looks appealing. GameIndustry.biz has an article. Kabam acquires Reposit Games and Company, the Montreal-based developer, to continue support for past titles like as Kabam takes over publishing miniguns. I don't know either of these companies though, so yeah, and there's no listing of what games. Oh, okay.
I wonder.
Let's see. Do I need to play this yet? No. Support for existing existing titles such as Miniguns, Dungeon Stars, and Shop Heroes. And it is also working on at least one new release. I haven't heard of any of those games. I imagine they're just mobile things. Let's see. And the rest of these articles might all be the Sony State of Play that was started as I started streaming. So there might be a consideration in that. So TechRaptor has an article. Sony State of Play 325 Observation release date. So the game Observation is coming out 5/21/2019, according to the screenshot. This is Devolver Digital's game Observation, a horror game where you control a space station of observers. It will be launching May 21st on PlayStation 4. All the announcement dates here will just be PlayStation release dates. And the thing that is missing almost certainly in this is the thing that will be missing will be like any release dates on any other consoles, or whether it's actually an exclusive or not. And unless there's an announcement, I have yet to see whether there's any tease for PlayStation 5, because now I've seen one story talking about a game coming out on PlayStation 4. If they were going to at their State of Play, which means almost certainly this year they're not announcing a PlayStation 5, unless they're gonna try and sneak that out after E3, because they're not doing anything for E3.
Let the pain speak to me.
So yeah, if they were going to announce a PlayStation 5 here, they would have announced it at the beginning, and all the games would have said coming out for PlayStation 4 at this time and PlayStation 5 soon. But since one story said just PlayStation 4, that pretty much means there will be no announcement for PlayStation 5. That's how I read that, at least.
Is someone injured?
This. This. And in the turn. Next article we have Sony State of Play 325 Ready Set Heroes. This is all just gonna be very short articles. I can show the screenshot of Ready Set Heroes. It looks like it's a top-down game of some fighting sense. It's a couch co-op game supporting 2 local players. Robot Games is developing it. Yeah, not really a lot to say there. You're holding a dragon. Choose a minion, add a copy to your hand. Place that.
Right away.
That. Just draw a couple cards that way. Just end the turn there. See, Gamma Sutra has the same article, the obituary for Take-Two founder Ryan Brandt. Yeah, still no explanation on what he died from.
No idea what I'm capable of.
This is another great example of people not really doing any journalism in the journalism. Because if they were doing any journalism, they would have tried to research and find some basic answers. Double health. Okay. Double the health.
Right away.
Attack. And I have another double health I can do. But that won't really do anything. Okay, we have a game on Steam that I think I'll just go ahead and say maybe we can show it off because it's a low effort troll game anyways. Yeah, so we have on Steam Hentai Shooter 2 World Tour, and here you have is that supposed to be Gorbachev or Putin? I can't even tell in the stacking doll. And then you have an American looking woman and a Chinese looking woman and I guess American looking man, and then you have an Egyptian looking woman who's in ancient Egyptian clothing. Clearly a low effort game for 59 cents. They're trying to sell you an entire bundle for $19.13 or a whole nother bundle for $38.08. Then uncensored art collection costs you another $2.99 in DLC. So they're trying to rip you off in many different ways for these low effort garbage games. Alright. Play this. This. Do this.
Someone injured?
Silence this guy. And double this one's health again. And end the turn. Next we have a game on Steam called Interstellar Prime. This looks really good. This is a space game. This per se doesn't look that good.
This guy.
Yeah, one cutscene looks good. This doesn't look like it's just all in space, and so maybe I'd be willing to try this. This is an early access game. It's not even out yet. I'll put this on the follow list and see. Well, you know what? It's not even out yet. I shouldn't even put it on the follow list. But if it was a real game, and it's merging RPG, real-time strategy, and space simulation games genres together, that is something different than what we normally have as an opportunity.
Right away.
I'm just gonna hit that and do that. And then I guess I can just play that. And do that. And do that. Well, if I found the game that interests me, even if it isn't out yet, I should put it on the follow list because I might miss it later. Next we have a game on Steam called Documentary, which I feel like I've seen a game by this name before, but I don't think it looked that good. What is this? No, it looks like you're playing as not even a duck. That's not what a duck looks like in my mind. And looks like you're playing as a rooster. Yeah, you're playing as a hen, not a duck. It even says that. This is weird. This is a weird looking game. Looks like it's an assortment of a bunch of mini games. It's $1.39 discounted right now. And it's English, Korean, Chinese, and Japanese, and I can't tell who developed it, frankly, if it was an English company, a Korean company, a Chinese company, or a Japanese company. I'll put this on the follow list and see if people actually play it and like it. There's a decent chance, though, that wouldn't ever reach a level of reviews. I don't know if enough people will ever try it to review it. Gematsu has an article. Delightworks announces Unreal Engine 4 game project for smartphones, announced at Anime Japan 2019. And we can see here it is a very anime looking screenshot of a girl, although this is kind of a different art style. It's a bit rounder of head, a bit rounder head than normal. She's being stabbed by some kind of magic or thorn. It's a bit of trailer here, but these Japanese trailers tend to be more flash than substance. So I'll watch it and we'll see what it is. It's a smartphone game, so I would not be surprised if it's really just a visual novel. And the visual novels always manage to make themselves look bigger and better than they probably are. So the trailer is just showing a 3D CG girl on her phone, like I assume Japanese schoolgirl, high schooler probably. It's not showing her face or anything, it's showing her feet and showing her hands on the phone, which means that they are both hiding the fact that they didn't bother to animate a face, or hiding her face for some other reason. And it seems like the texting is getting more and more common, or faster paced, as if she's like, I don't know what it's saying, because she might be breaking up with somebody or something else. And then she dropped her phone, and then there's a bunch of other things, and then it looks like she just cut her wrist and blood came out and turned into those vine things. So yeah,
Must consider.
let's see, they're saying the optimal story experience while pursuing both visual expression and fun as a game. The key phrase teased in the trailer is "growing up hurts." So I would guess that the character is going through a bad breakup. Well, if that comes out to the West, that'll be interesting, but it'll be a mobile game anyway, so yeah, it's not something I would cover unless it also comes to Steam. Next we have a game on Steam. I'm about to lose on this Hearthstone game called Infinitely Up, which looks like a simple one-screen Unity physics game where you're just trying to build higher and higher. Seen far too many of these, and none of them have offered anything unique enough for me to want to spend time with them. It's discounted to 59 cents, so it's as cheap as it could be. If this looks like something that appeals to you, this would probably be a fine version of this. It's got 6 achievements, so it might be easy to get all the achievements if that matters to you, but otherwise it's just generic. Let's see, can I show off this one? Is this YouTube family friendly? I'm gonna say probably, but just to err on the side of caution, we have a game on Steam called Hardcore Puzzle, which is slide puzzles with anime girls lying on a bed, and the slide puzzles are shuffled, so I can't really just instantly look at them and see what bits are showing or what aren't. There's at least one screenshot where one's in a pretty small micro bikini or mini bikini. Might be a better descriptor of it. So there's a lot of flesh being shown there. 59 cents discounted. Again, these lewd games, not worth it. If they're not going to bother to put a story in it, if they're not going to bother to have a single character that you're pursuing over the course of the gameplay, it's really not something that you should spend any money on. Moving on, Gematsu has an article, Persona 5, The Royal, announced for PS4. More information coming April 24th. I think they also teased Persona 5, the animation, Stars and Ours broadcast. So they like teased several things, and there's like a Persona 5 Super Live concert. Persona 5 The Royal, as an expansion of Persona 5, feels to me like it's a little out of place, and they should be instead focusing on Persona 6 instead of just expanding Persona 5. If you wanted to tell more story with the characters from Persona 5, you probably should bring them back in like a future Persona game. Like, you could do Persona 6 as a whole new group of people, or you could do Persona 6 where it brings back the characters from Persona 5, 1, 2, and 3, because I think each of the Persona games really had different groups of people. But yeah, it seems like they're milking that franchise a little too much, which is typical of Japanese companies. And sadly, Persona never came to PC, and Atlas of Japan doesn't believe in fair use, so streaming the game all the way through to the end is against their made-up personal rules. So even if it was on PC, I don't know how I could cover it without potentially getting a DMCA takedown request. Persona 5 The Royal was previously known or rumored to be Persona 5R. TechRaptor has the same article on it. I think some of the team, if I'm remembering correctly, I think some of the team that somebody wants to be my friend. Okay, let's see what happens there. See if he wants to challenge a friend and give me 80 gold. I could play Druid deck. Let's see. Heading into play mode. Let's just watch this guy who just friended me and see if he wants to challenge me. Like, I'm giving him every opportunity to challenge me, and it doesn't seem like he's gonna do it. This friend system on Hearthstone is so underused and so pointless that the only reason I assume anybody would ever want to friend me is because they want to get the challenge a friend quest done. But apparently he just wanted to friend me, which is okay, cool, whatever. Let's play this. Maybe if you friend people, you don't play them in ranked. So you just friend everybody who's good at the game and only play against bad people. This game looks weird. We have a game here on Steam called Bunny Parking, which kind of feels like it's trying to do a cheap ripoff of Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny combined, and usually this is a 2D top-down top-down puzzle game where you would slide cards to make room, but it seems like it's been made into a multiplayer game where you just grief the other players. I don't think it actually improves the top-down ability, and there's a lot of stuff here that just seems like it's randomly added. I don't think this puzzle is improved one bit by being 3D. I think it makes it worse of an experience because it's just harder to accomplish your goal. Let's see, this developer also has a game called Bunny Mahjong and Bunny Minesweeper, so they seem to just be adding the bunnies for no reason. 13 achievements, bunch of languages. It's selling for 20% discount for $2.39. Yeah, I think that's a pass. After a hero attacks and kills a minion, draw a card. Okay. Next we have a game on Steam called Human Pinball, and it's dark screenshot syndrome immediately. And I don't see anything here that looks like a human as a pinball. Well, it seems like you're just running around some very dark asset flips. Maybe there's a blue orb in one screenshot that you're supposed to be pushing. This trailer is not giving me any kind of idea at all.
The scourge will devour all.
Yeah, there's a blue ball, and as a human you're bumping into this blue ball and trying to roll it down what is a giant environments that are somewhat pinball-like. But I think that's a pretty bad descriptor. Human Pinball Ice Age is $8.99 with no discount. And apparently they've re-released it. So it was not... This was on Steam before, and it still looks like garbage, so I don't know why you re-release it other than you're trying to manipulate the release date and get it to show up as a popular upcoming game. Moving on, we have a game on Steam called Pix Vault, which this does not look like a very large amount of effort on this thumbnail, and every screenshot looks basically the same as a stand in the middle tower defense shooting guns style game. This is $2.99 discounted. Yeah, nothing there. This and that and what do we want to do?
Your magic shall not save you.
That. I'm almost out of news, but there's some more news that I'm gonna have to look on my Twitter feed. But yeah, we're definitely not going to a third stream at this point. I need to change the timing. I said this at the end of the last stream too, though, is that I needed to change when it tells me to make the next recording, because at an hour and a half I'm only making 2 episodes. At an hour I was making 3 or 4. Let's see. Poisonous. Can't be targeted by spells or hero power.
Job's done.
Interesting. Next we have a game, It's Too Rainy Day. That's not English. This looks like it's the exact same screen, and I don't even know what's going on in this game. This game is about how good weather can please under the torrential rain. This looks like just a tower defense game, and see, this person who is talking to me now is going to get removed because he's just typing in Japanese and I don't know anything what he said. He probably just said hi since it was just one symbol.
Where shall I strike?
Yeah, this game, It's Too Rainy Day, is 59 cents discounted. It looks terrible and it doesn't make any sense. Next we have a game on Steam called Pokerus, which looks like a Windows 95 game where you're playing poker cards to play Tetris, which doesn't really make any sense and looks horrible. It's 99 cents with no discount.
What to do?
Yeah, so Poker's not making it. YouTube content creators, I think they had a funny thing to say here. Let's see. On March 23rd, they tweeted out, "This is embarrassing. The original song by It's Dan Bull and remix by Grande with editing by Dylan Kemp 3. We apologize for the error." So they had previously tweeted out a song called Robo Copyright and misattributed it. So, I mean, this is YouTube not being able to keep its stuff together yet again. Not being able to keep its poop together to actually even properly attribute a song. Gematsu has an article. Localization company lists Professor Layton and the Curious Village for the Switch. So the first Professor Layton game possibly is coming for the Switch, is possibly coming out.
Versus Luna.
Professor Layton and the Curious Village first launched on the DS in 2007, followed by an iOS and Android port in 2018, which if it came to iOS and Android, then that is a pretty good evidence that it could come to the Switch. It's really just a matter of whether Nintendo wants to go down that path, and I think at this point it's pretty obvious that they're giving up on the 3DS and the new 3DS and all of that and just focusing on the Switch. TechRaptor has an article. Gamers for Orcas hosted a 24-hour live stream for conservation fundraising. The stream started Friday, March 24th. Don't know how much they raised. The article doesn't really say, so again, I'm of the opinion if you're doing a live stream to raise fundraising, good on you as a streamer, but you're really just doing it to get attention for yourself as much as for the the organization you're raising funds for. It benefits the streamer more than the amount of money that actually goes towards the charity. And it is still way smarter for people to just donate directly to a charity if they want to, and not and get that tax write-off than donate through a middle party that then gets the tax write-off. With maybe the exception of the Humble Bundle, because then you're donating to a charity. Well, you're not getting a tax write-off, you're probably getting something that might be more valuable in the form of an extremely cheap video game. That really depends on whether you wanted the video game or not.
I fight.
Twitch support an hour ago says we've resolved issues related to emotes, settings not loading in subscriptions. Thanks for your reports. 2 hours ago they said they've added more tags for music streamers, whether it's for discussion productions or authorized playbacks of music on Twitch. Improve your channel's discovery with these tags. And there's frankly several other things here with errors and bugs getting mentioned, so Twitch is also in part having some trouble. It has been pretty consistent. I think Twitch maybe just talks about their errors on their Twitter a little bit too often, and that's part of the problem. If they just did not announce a problem unless it was of a certain level, big enough to be mentionable, they'd probably look a little bit better. Next we have a game on Steam called Antipodal. This looks like a black and white Super Meat Boy platformer game. It also looks like it's a nightmare game designed to just have you die over and over again. Yeah, and the camera zooms out to do this reverse or inverse graphics, which then just makes the game even harder to see. It looks low effort. It's $1.99. Doesn't interest me. Let's see, while it's in your hands. This is a 3/4 copy of the last minion you played. Okay. Interesting. See, hit that, and that. See, next we have a game on Steam called Flashpoint. I believe there was a... No, I'm confusing that with Flashback. This looks like a low effort asset flip first person shooter. Yeah, nothing really here of any interest. Early access for $4.99. Yep. So I could play this again.
You are not welcome.
This. Do this. Go ahead and attack with that one.
For the wilds.
And then that puts me at the Humble Bundle. So let's see if there's a new Humble Bundle. There's a web programming bundle thing. The strategy games bundle, strategy 2019 games bundle, is ending in like 17 hours. The books bundle, Eat Like a Geek, is ending in like a day and 17 hours. But yeah, no new game bundles. And frankly, webmastering programming, I don't think you really need to read a book about that, because all of that is online pretty easily. Maybe you need to take a class and be educated by somebody who knows what they're doing, but that's about it. We have Emilio coming on the chat and immediately posting 3 fast comments. Hi, what's your win condition in this deck? And trade 1/1. So he sounds like he wants the backseat drive. Alright, here's my win condition on this deck. 100%. I've had 1 win, 0 losses. That may be because my tracker has not saved this deck before, or it may simply be because I just rebuilt all of my decks a couple of days ago. But it's about to be 200% win condition. Alright. So I'm on my Twitter feed. Let me see if there's any more announcements from the Sony State of Play announcement. Otherwise, we are done for today. There's a game called Tree Simulator 2020. That's obviously a low effort game. Shanti 5 has been announced for the PS4. Xbox One, Switch, PC, and Apple devices. That would have been part of the Apple announcement. Let's see, what am I... Do I even have more Droid things to announce? Yeah, let's just not even do it. Your Lego tower can be personalized to be one of a kind, says Nimblebit, which is a Lego, one of the Apple Lego games that was announced for Apple's thing. Okay. PlayStation VR release dates were announced an hour ago. So we'll look at that article. I think that might really be it, though. No Man's Sky VR for Sony State of Play. Seriously, yeah, like, there's no more news. So the State of Play announced barely 3 things. As far as what is getting reported. So, we have over here a game called Tree Simulator 2020. Clearly, this is not anything but a low-effort asset flip game on Steam for 59 cents. We can go ahead and close that. Let's see. We have on Gamatsu, Shanti 5 announced for the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC and Apple devices, due out in 2019. That means I still haven't bought like the remaster, I think, of the first Shanti game, and that's why I haven't played any of them. I would like to play them all before Shanti 5 comes out. That would be nice. I probably wouldn't get around to that, though. Like, honestly, I don't even know if there's a sale that's going to happen between now and basically October, November, December. And then TechRaptor has Sony State of Play 325 PSVR release dates. So let's see what games. Mini Mech Mayhem, Jupiter and Mars. Let's see. Third game was called Falcon Age. And then Tower Saves the Universe. And then Everybody's Golf VR. They don't even have pictures here. And then Table of Tales. And then Vacation Simulator. And yeah, there's just this one video. And that's it. That probably is the trailer for all of the games. Let's see. 1 minute long. Like 1 minute long to show off all the PlayStation VR videos. Just to tease them. They said, I think they said the State of Play video was going to be 30 minutes. And I was saying that, well, geez, it's more likely that you would have 11 games or so and give 3 minutes to them than 10 games and give 10 minutes to them. And it seems like they went the other way, and they really did just have 3 games that they gave 10 minutes to. Not really, but nothing was given a lot of time here. 3 main things to talk about. Seems like all that is being reported right now. Maybe I'm just getting bad information, and it was more said at the State of Play. And then TechRaptor has another article, the State of Play, No Man's Sky VR. No Man's Sky, though, you would be a fool to ever play this at this point. Regardless of how much it's been patched or improved, or the fact that it has PlayStation VR support, or even computer VR support, which I assume it might adapt. Yeah, it will use Steam VR too. I don't know, I guess maybe if you're just desperate to play something in VR, No Man's Sky is probably better than most of the garbage VR games out there. So that might be an argument there for that, but not much. Alright, well, we've gotten more than enough done for Wednesday, and there is still that possibility that Tuesday around noon I will stream, because we'll be able to look at all the new cards in the new expansion. If that is the case, then I'll make a special stream. Otherwise, I will be back on Wednesday to cover more daily quests and more video game news. That's it for this stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.